Growing up in a small town, I excelled in school and earned a spot at a prestigious university in the city. To make things easier, I moved in with my dad's older brother, fondly known Uncle Easton, who lived nearby. In exchange for my dad covering my living expenses, I got to stay with Uncle Easton, who was always busy running three branches of a restaurant franchise. His wife, Aunt Bella, had a thriving macaron and coffee shop in the area, which I soon discovered was a hotspot for locals. During my graduation season, I learned the art of making macarons from Aunt Bella and even started selling them, along with coffee beans. This way, Uncle Easton and Aunt Bella ran their separate businesses, but they never had any children. Whenever I visited their house as a kid, I felt like part of the family. My aunt would dot on me if she got married. She always remembered to give me presents for Christmas and Children's Day, and she never failed to write me a heartfelt note in a card. This persisted until my high school final year. When I was a child, my large aunt would take me to a toy store where I could buy any item I wanted. She was always very interested in me. She asked my mom if she could take me on a vacation when I was in the second grade, and my mom said yes. I have a younger sister who is 6 years younger than me. When she was born, I was jealous because it felt like she was taking away my mother's love. Aunt Bella's marriage further affected me. On my days off from school, I would help out at her shop. We went to Hawaii with my Uncle Easton. I remember riding a boat and playing at a pineapple farm. In a pinch, my Uncle Easton would call on me to help out at his restaurant when his part-time staff didn't show up. Despite their busy schedules running their own businesses, the couple seemed to prioritize their individual pursuits over their relationship. Financially, they were secure, but their marriage appeared to lack warmth. Yet, I felt at ease living with them, thanks to Aunt Bella's kind nature. As summer arrived, she began to dress more casually, and I followed suit, wearing tank tops and shorts while she opted for comfortable long shirts and sleeveless maxi dresses. Her relaxed attire made me feel comfortable enough to wear long shirts around the house. Though she pretended not to notice, I was a young and energetic teenager, and her presence had a profound effect on me. Every evening, when Aunt Bella emerged from her shower, her sunflower perfume and aerial floral scent filled the air, leaving me in awe. I moved around the house. I noticed a stark contrast between my mom, who never wore perfume, and Aunt Bella, who always radiated a fresh, floral scent. One day, my curiosity got the better of me, and I asked her, "Aunt Bella, why don't you have any children? You're so beautiful, and if you had a daughter who looked like you, she would be stunning." The room suddenly felt chilly, and I realized I had overstepped. Aunt Bella's expression turned somber, and she said, "I had hoped to have a child just like Thomas, but life doesn't always go planned. People assume having children after marriage is a guarantee, but it's not. You'll understand when you're older." Her eyes welled up with tears. She quickly changed the subject, suggesting we share a beer together, which I agreed to. We sat down. I noticed she was wearing a long shirt and hot pants. She brought out beers and snacks from the fridge, and we ended up having a lively time, drinking several bottles together. She appeared uncertain about what to discuss at first, but she quickly started telling her story. She was 23 when she first met my Uncle Easton, and 5 months after their introduction during her final year of college, they were married. They began modestly and took pleasure in gradually bettering their shared lives by having two sources of income. They intended to start a family after they were comfortably settled financially, but following my Uncle Easton's automobile accident on his way home from work, he was unable to have children because of the after effects. A result, they chose to concentrate on their profession in order to ensure a comfortable retirement. Since they were childless, my Uncle Easton's obsession with money, believing it could fix all problems, grew. They purchased the newest appliances, upgraded their automobiles frequently, and occupied a spacious flat. Although they didn't have a great relationship, Aunt Bella attempted a number of different ways to become pregnant, but my Uncle Easton was too preoccupied with his job to care about her feelings and was more concerned with generating money. Despite their challenges, they persisted in their marriage and career pursuits. The first nephew of Aunt Bella, I held a special place in her heart. She showed her affection by showering me with clothes and secretly supporting my education. When my parents faced financial struggles, she insisted that I, Thomas, should continue my studies uninterrupted. I learned this story for the first time that day and felt deeply grateful for her unwavering support. I expressed my desire to be like a son to her, and her eyes welled up with joyful tears. She was overjoyed to see me growing into a mature and thoughtful individual, capable of having meaningful conversations with her. With a heavy heart, she shared the difficulties of maintaining a childless marriage, a sentiment that resonated deeply. In a moment of raw emotion, Aunt Bella broke down in tears, burying her face in my lap. She revealed that despite their wealth, the emptiness of their childless home had left a deep void in her heart. She considered me like a son, and I felt a pang of sorrow for her loveless marriage to my uncle. Shockingly, she confessed that my uncle, who managed multiple business branches, had been unfaithful with young part-time workers. She felt ashamed to share this with anyone but had no one else to turn to. Behind their facade of happiness and financial success, my uncle was living a life of infidelity, treating his beautiful wife like a mere object. I couldn't comprehend how he could betray her so callously. As her sobs grew louder, I offered comforting pats on her back, waiting for her to calm down. Once composed, she looked at me with gratitude, saying, "I've shared so much with you, Thomas. Thank you for listening." She grinned at me, which relieves me. I thought she was quite cute. She closed her eyes and rested her head on my shoulder. I eventually heard faint breathing. She had gone asleep, and because I was going to leave the master bedroom, I brought her and let her lay on the bed. I felt that it would be impolite to leave her like that. I said, "I love you, Aunt Bella, and I have something to confess too," in response to her request for Thomas to remain at her side. I held her, and my head is full of memories of us living together. The air was heavy with the smell of sunflowers. She gave me a back rub. I gave her a strong hug and moved. She shoved me away at first, but I persisted. I gently questioned her, wondering how she could put up with a nasty guy like my uncle. "I promised to protect you going forward and not let you be alone." Yes, it must have been difficult. No matter how I look at it, I said to her, "We shouldn't be doing this right. Let's be honest with each other going forward. I love you." She walked along, almost resigned, waiting to see what I would do next. She was really ashamed at first, but since it had been more than 5 years since she had been in my uncle's arms, she even begged me to do it again. My aunt and I rekindled our love, and I thought her marriage was wonderful. "I like this, honey," she said. "Again, I express my love for you, aunt, and let's be close from now on." After reassuring each other of our sentiments, she embraced our love and made it impossible for me to forget my uncle, who was mistreating this amazing woman. She began to lead a more active life, and her skin even improved. I promised to be an amazing lover and son to her, and I always stayed near to her, sharing both work and affection. She was cooking dinner one evening when I got home. I crept into the kitchen after she had finished working at the store and gave her a back hug. There were moments when I told my aunt, "I'm in a hurry today," and we impromptu made love. Working at my aunt's house throughout my first year of college allowed me to live comfortably. The majority of my friends enlisted in the military after their freshman year, but I decided to wait a year or two to stay with my aunt. So after my sophomore year, I took a trip with her before enrolling. I informed my folks that I was going on a trip with friends while she closed her McLaren store for a few days. She drove and told my uncle she was going on a trip with her buddies. She took my hand and told me an unexpected tale. She claimed that after I started college, she fell in love with me. She frequently felt nervous while we worked together at the Macron store, questioning whether or not she was expressing her emotions. I thought she was an adorable aunt, and I told her that I would only ever love her in the future. She advised me to meet and not to say anything like that. I made her happy by telling her that it would be hard to meet a woman like my aunt. After completing my training and being stationed, I enlisted in the military. I heard that I had a visitor and was curious who it was. It was my aunt. She advised me not to say such things and that I should meet several girlfriends after I get discharged. After eating at a restaurant, we checked into a motel nearby. Despite my haste, I spent the entire night making love to my aunt and taking showers. She promised to come back frequently and bought me my favorite cuisine. She even wrote me emails, telling me that I had finally finished my military career. I'm still seeing my aunt as a father. We created a code together, and when my aunt texts me the code, I drop everything to go see her since, despite her advanced age, my lovely aunt is waiting for me by herself.